Movie bloopers can be the funniest when unplanned, but can be a masterpiece when done right.
In Liar Liar, Jim Carrey makes a cameo in his own movie as Fire Marshal Bill, a character he invented when he was on the show In Living Color.
Jim Carrey sneaks in an old character cameo in Liar Liar. As a nod to his character Fire Marshal Bill from In Living Color, Carrey appeared surprisedly in Liar Liar, struggling to keep his co-stars from laughing.
In Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, in the Mordor scene, whenever Sean Bean looks down,
he keeps the script on his lap in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Whenever Sean Bean's character glances down, he's reading his lines. The speech was written the night before filming, and Bean hadn't memorized it. An unplanned fall creates a perfect ending in Collateral. In Fall, Tom Cruise's stumble while running out of the office wasn't scripted, but director Michael Mann loved the authenticity and left it in. It's a real knockout in The Way of the Gun. In the opening scene, Ryan Philippe accidentally leaned too far, unintentionally knocking out Sarah Silverman during a punch sequence.
You want to do the man dance? First dance is yours.
A playful slap was caught on camera in Rogue One. In Star Wars Rogue One, Alan Tudyk's unscripted slap on Diego Luna's character led to an unexpected laugh from Luna, which made it even more entertaining. Take a look at Sigourney Weaver's basketball miracle in Alien Resurrection. Weaver lands an impossible basketball shot over her shoulder without looking. No trickery involved. Ron Perlman almost ruined the shot by celebrating out of character, which is why the scene cuts right after the ball goes in.
The scene in Spaceballs where Dark Helmet plays with dolls wasn't in the script. The idea occurred to Mel Brooks on set, and Rick Moranis improvised the whole thing.
Yes! No! No! Yes! No! Oh! 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 Your helmet is so big!
The scene where Alan Tudyk's character slaps
Check out this improvised doll play in Spaceballs. The memorable scene where Dark Helmet plays with dolls wasn't planned. Rick Moranis improvised the entire bit after director Mel Brooks thought of the idea on set. Here's a puzzling detail in Shutter Island that you might have missed. In one scene, inmate Bridget Cars asks for a glass of water, but when she drinks, there's no cup in her hand. She even pretends to drink with her right hand, then sets an invisible glass down with her left.
It's a glass down with her left.
A bouncy weapon in Gangs of New York. When a foam rubber meat cleaver bounces off Monk's back and lands on the ground, it creates a comedic effect unexpected in an 1863 setting. In Fight Club, an off-camera moment turned iconic. Edward Norton and Brad Pitt didn't realize they were being filmed while hitting golf balls after wrapping up for the day. Director David Fincher turned the camera on, capturing their playful, drunken fun, which they didn't know was in the film until the premiere. We all are victims of farting in very awkward places and times. But in This Is 40, Paul Rudd's unexpected fart during a bedroom scene led Leslie Mann to deliver a hilarious unscripted response explaining why their character's romance wasn't quite sizzling. A moment of pure comedic gold. It's pure moment of pure comedic gold. Ah yes, so pure it's practically been distilled into comedy's own holy water. Twice as pure, because once just wasn't enough. Just as people who live in glass houses are advised to not throw stones, be careful how you walk after spilling water. In Scrooged, Bill Murray's unplanned slip on spilled water turned into a perfect moment of ironic payback. Cue the classic moment here.
In Scrooged, Bill Murray falling over on his way out of the restaurant was not scripted. He slipped on the water he had just thrown on the waiter moments before,
where he starts to lose his balance, followed by the exaggerated flailing, and finally the inevitable crash landing that seals the comedic deal. Murray's slip is a reminder that karma has a funny way of catching up with you, especially if there's a puddle involved. Don't drop the ball, but in this case, don't drop the orb. In Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt's accidental drop of the orb wasn't scripted, but his quick response was so fitting that it was left in the movie for extra laughs, followed by his quick totally meant to do that response, and the priceless expression here seals the moment. Sometimes the best bloopers make the best scenes. Have you ever heard of a punch out for making a statement? In The Joker, Arthur decides a regular walkout isn't enough. Instead, he punches the clock-in machine with such force it flies off the wall, creating a powerful, unplanned moment of defiance that's as jarring as it is satisfying. The impact ripples through, and it's an unexpected, powerful moment that perfectly captures his breaking point.
When Redfoot flicks his cigarette into the face of McManus, it was originally intended to hit his chest, so McManus's reaction is Stephen Baldwin's real unscripted reaction.
Get the fuck off my dick.
Nope.
How about being hit in the face by a cigarette? In The Usual Suspects, Redfoot tries to flick a cigarette at McManus's chest, but ends up hitting him in the face instead. Stephen Baldwin's genuine reaction was priceless, and it gave the scene a rawness that couldn't be replicated. Let's talk about quick thinking and code cracking, shall we? In End of Watch, Officer Brian, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, uses LAPD Code 4, which means no assistance needed to clear away an approaching helicopter. This improvisation fits so well with the scene that it stayed in the final cut. Has a foul smell gotten you into a foul mood?
In Independence Day, they filmed Will Smith dragging an alien across the salt flats of Utah. Nobody warned him of the horrible smell that sometimes comes from the Great Salt Lake due to billions of dead brine shrimp each year.
And what the hell is that smell?
The director found it funny and left it in.
This was exactly Will Smith's experience on the set of Independence Day, where he drags an alien across the salt flats of Utah only to be hit by the putrid smell of decaying sea life. A reaction that was kept for its authenticity. In Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Han Solo becomes hopelessly confused when Chewbacca hands him back his pack, which he'd just dropped. Harrison Ford's bewildered reaction was so real that the director couldn't resist leaving it in the film. Have you ever seen a candy heist on set? In Die Hard, Uli pockets a candy bar in a scene, adding a quirky twist to his character. Crew member Steven Duza even joked that this made Uli one of the last to die in the film. What's more memorable than a genuine medical scene? In Captain Phillips, real naval officer Danielle Albert treated Tom Hanks using authentic military procedures, creating an unexpectedly realistic moment on screen. How about some truly dazed laughter? In Dazed and Confused, Matthew McConaughey's infectious laugh came from being authentically high while filming, lending a genuine dazed vibe to the scene. What if a miss makes the moment?
Keaton's 3 Ages, he attempts to leap from one building to the next but misses. The miss was not intentional, but he thought the miss was funnier, so he designed the rest of the gag around the mistake.
In 3 Ages, Buster Keaton's failed jump between buildings sparked an impromptu comedic sequence, elevating the scene with his brilliant response to the fall. Can you keep your cool under creepy circumstances? Scarlett Johansson seduced unknowing strangers in Under the Skin, drawing men to her van without casting them. Secret cameras captured their natural reactions, amplifying the film's eerie atmosphere. While shooting Mystery Men, a crew member accidentally tossed a lighter into a flaming trash can, unaware that it was meant to be used as a prop. When it exploded unexpectedly, Paul Rubens saved the scene with the iconic line, "Excuse me?" If you ever find your car impounded on a movie set, you might consider asking for a roll to cover the fine. In Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, a passerby's inquiry about nuclear vessels was kept when she agreed to appear in the movie after discovering her car was towed from the set. In the Lord of the Rings movie adaptation, Gandalf wasn't supposed to bump his head against the doorpost, but when he did, Ian McKellen's ability to stay in character turned it into a charming addition, which director Peter Jackson loved and kept. Asking kids to talk about their parents' occupations could be funny and illuminating. In Kindergarten Cop, Arnold Schwarzenegger got more than he bargained for when he asked the kids what their dads do for work. The honest answers were so hilarious and unscripted that they were kept in the movie. What would your reaction be if you saw a friendly charging mob running toward you? In Gettysburg, Martin Sheen's portrayal of General Lee inspired hundreds of Confederate reenactors to cheer for him, and his calm reaction and character turned the chaotic moment into an unforgettable scene. Ever wondered what public speaking would look like to a crowd who understands nothing you're saying? In A Knight's Tale, Geoffrey Chaucer's speech falls flat on an audience who doesn't understand English. After an awkward silence, a quick-thinking character gives a prompt that turns the crowd into enthusiastic cheers. Never let your guard down when shooting a movie. In Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Ron Weasley's unexpected tumble off the couch added a dose of real humor. The director loved the blooper so much that it became part of the final cut. Here's an example of how to keep your confidence in check. In The Sound of Music, while singing "I Have Confidence," Julie Andrews stumbled but carried on with undeterred grace, making for a charmingly human moment that stayed in the film. Have you ever been caught off guard while filming a scene? In Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman's unexpected fart in a phone booth left Tom Cruise visibly stunned, giving an unscripted reaction that was genuine and unforgettable. Let's talk about unscripted brilliance, shall we? While shooting the birdcage, Robin Williams unexpectedly slipped and fell while serving shrimp, adding a humorous spark to the scene that wasn't originally in the script. Ever thought a pre-acting ritual could steal the show? In The Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio and Matthew McConaughey beat their chests and hummed together in a hilarious unscripted sequence. This improvised moment was based on Matthew's personal pre-scene routine. Imagine a scene saved by a clumsy fall. In Animal House, Bluto's unexpected slip and roll while sneaking around campus perfectly matched his character's chaotic nature. This happy accident added humor, so the director decided to keep it in the final cut. What would you do if you could kiss your crush by chance? In Inception, Arthur seized the chance to plant an unscripted kiss on Ariadne's lips, leaving her visibly stunned. This spontaneous kiss turned an ordinary scene into an unforgettable moment.
In The Searchers, during the battle at the ford, Captain Reverend Clayton accidentally fires a shot when Ethan throws him a revolver. This was a real accident by Ward Bond, and director John Ford decided to keep it in the film.
How about a hit and miss that actually hits the mark? While filming The Searchers, Captain Reverend Samuel Clayton accidentally fires a shot after a revolver is tossed his way. The resulting mishap adds a mix of humor and tension, so it was left in. Can technical difficulties add authenticity? In Apollo 13, Tom Hanks accidentally stalls the car mid-scene. Instead of stopping, he improvised, saying, "This is the second time it's done that today," making the mistake feel natural. Have you seen a real fear scene in action? In Deep Blue Sea, the actors were startled when a water tank broke, flooding the set with 3 tons of water. Their genuine panic as they fled was so real that the scene stayed in. When unplanned animal behavior makes a scene iconic. During Jaws, the shark rolls over the cage unexpectedly, adding to the movie's suspense. The impromptu moment added an eerie touch that enhanced the terror of the scene. Can mistakes turn into artistic moments? At the end of Barton Fink, a bird unexpectedly dives into the water, creating a beautiful moment that adds to the film's mystique. Ever seen real frustration on screen? In Road to Perdition, Rooney unexpectedly slams his hand on the table in a fit of anger, surprising everyone on set, including Paul Newman. The genuine intensity of this reaction stayed in the movie. How do you keep going after an awkward mishap? In Harold and Maude, Bud Cort accidentally hits himself with a shovel but keeps going, staying in character. This unscripted slip-up was the perfect touch of realism, when an accidental kiss takes a scene to new heights. In The Graduate, Ben accidentally grabs Mrs. Robinson's breast, leading to an unscripted moment where he continually bangs his head against the wall, laughing. His reaction became a classic movie moment.
In Cabaret, during the scene where Brian conducts Natalia's English lessons with Sally and Fritz present, Brian passes Sally a plate of cake, but it falls off and hits her chest. Michael York said the cake was supposed to stay on the plate, but her reaction was so amusing that they decided to leave it in the film.
Thank you so much.
Ever seen a handoff gone wrong? In Cabaret, a piece of cake slips from a character's hand and falls onto Sally's chest. The mishap leads to an unplanned, hilarious reaction that became an iconic part of the film. Could a snowstorm change the seasons in one scene? In House of Flying Daggers, a surprise snowfall during filming created a natural transition from autumn to winter, enhancing the scene's beauty and poetic effect, when a funny fall becomes an unforgettable moment. In Dr. Strangelove, General Turgidsen's accidental trip added unexpected levity to a tense scene in the war room. His in-character reaction was so convincing, it was left in the movie.
In No Country for Old Men, during the coin toss scene, Javier Bardem nearly choked on a peanut when the gas station owner mentioned his wife's father originally owned the station.
You lived here all your life? This is my wife's father's place originally.
They kept it in the final cut because it looked like Chigurh was so shocked by the idea of not building a business from scratch that he physically reacted.
You lived here all your life? This is my wife's father's place originally.
when snacks add unexpected tension. In No Country for Old Men, Javier Bardem accidentally chokes on a peanut mid-scene, adding an authentic sense of disbelief to an intense moment. Unexpected falls can create pure comedy gold. While filming A Hard Day's Night, George Harrison and Ringo both trip and laugh as they recover, giving the scene an extra dose of charm that made it into the final cut.
Widow, during the scene where Red Guardian is stuck in his jacket, David Harbour really got stuck. They used that take in the film.
It still fits.
A wardrobe malfunction makes for a hilarious twist. In Black Widow, the Red Guardian struggles with his jacket, turning the costume mishap into a moment of comic relief that fans loved.
Black Knight, the scene where Princess Regina trips over her bedsheets, wasn't scripted. Actress Jeanette Wegar really did trip and fall, but the director liked it and kept it in the final cut.
No longer be interested in...
Have you ever tripped at the worst possible moment? While filming Black Knight, Princess Regina accidentally trips mid-escape, creating a relatable and funny moment in a high-stakes scene. When clumsiness makes the scene better, in American Graffiti, Toad nearly drops a liquor bottle during a robbery scene. Director George Lucas loved this imperfect take for its authenticity, so it was kept in the final film. What if your prop accidentally hurt someone? In Blade Runner 2049, Harrison Ford unintentionally lands a punch on Ryan Gosling during a casino fight scene due to a lighting miscalculation. Their genuine shock brought intensity to the scene. Can nature create the perfect moment? During the filming of Atonement, Robbie lifts his head just as sunlight breaks through the clouds. This brief shift added an eerie yet beautiful symbolism to the scene that the director loved. Have you ever felt embarrassed by your clothes? In The Exorcist, Reagan's vomit accidentally hits the priest's face instead of his chest, causing a genuine reaction of disgust and shock from the actor. This mishap was kept in the final cut, when an unexpected slip becomes a comedic moment. In Airplane, a character runs to catch a plane and crashes into a series of towers that weren't meant to fall, turning a dramatic scene into an unforgettable comic mishap, when a miscue becomes a perfect fit. In On the Waterfront, Terry picks up Ed's glove and wears it, creating a moment that felt so genuine the director decided to keep it.
We walk in the garden of his turbulence!
In A Knight's Tale, when Will wins his first sword match, the crowd stays silent until Roland encourages them to cheer. This happened because the extras, who were from the Czech Republic, didn't know any English and didn't realize they were supposed to cheer at the end of Chaucer's speech.
Ever struggled to make your extras understand what is going on in a scene? In A Knight's Tale, the non-English speaking extras missed their cue to cheer, leading to a delayed reaction that created unexpected comedy.
In the 1965 movie Dr. Zhivago, there is a scene where Lara slaps Komarovsky, and he responds by slapping her back with his glove. This reaction wasn't in the original script. Actor Rod Steiger, who played Komarovsky, later remarked that nobody slaps Komarovsky and gets away with it.
How about when reflexes change the whole scene? In Dr. Zhivago, Lara slaps Komarovsky, and his unscripted reflexive slap in return made for a shocking, powerful moment that stays in the movie. A one-shot miracle with some serious swagger. In Alien Resurrection, Sigourney Weaver scores an impossible backward basketball shot without looking. The genuine amazement of her fellow actors made this scene a showstopper. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these unscripted movie moments, you'll love our deep dive into TV show bloopers that were too good to cut. Check out our previous video to see how his on-the-spot genius brought unforgettable laughs to the screen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more behind-the-scenes magic. See you in the next one.